everyone, welcome back to another Friday and another casual champion review. It's actually Ekko this time, for real. I feel kind of bad for the people who chose or made art of Briar last week and didn't realize that we were doing that. And video did really well, got like 100,000 views for casual champion review standards. That's pretty goddamn good. But now we're finally at Ekko for real this time. We're on the E-Champions. I don't think there's that many of those. What, like Ekko, Elise, Evelyn? There's probably some more, but I don't remember them, so they're probably not important. Anyway, this is the third game we're playing today. Oh my goodness. This is the third game we're playing today. Oh my god. It's just the third game we're playing today of Ekko because the last two times haven't been overly fantastic. I don't know how well this one's going to go considering that the opponent is a master tier jungler, which is awesome. I love normal game matchmaking. I love being punished for not buying Smurf accounts. You know what? It isn't punishing though. Fan art section. Look at all those geckos. Usually this fan art section is people draw me as the champions, but I can understand why a lot of people decided not to do that and just draw Ekko himself. So while I do very much enjoy drawing me as the champions, I can kind of understand why maybe some people were uncomfortable. Still very much like it. Wonderful stuff, fellas. All right, we're getting to the gameplay now. I'm playing Ekko jungle today. I could play Ekko mid, but as I discovered from the two games I played, the first one I played was jungle. The second one I played was mid. So, ready discovery, Ekko jungle, significantly easier, and also just playing jungle is so much easier to commentate over because I don't have to worry about laning phase. I don't have to worry about ganking, getting ganked. I don't have to worry about my lane opponent being Irelia and diving on me level 2 because I fucking love that character. But jungle's just a lot more relaxing of a role. Unless I get invaded. So Ekko's going to be kind of interesting to talk about because we have two different versions. We have probably the more well-known version now is Arcane Ekko, but a lot of people don't know that that version of Ekko is not his actual story, or not canon to the main universe. The main universe one is the... You gotta be fucking kidding me, man. So the two different versions of Ekko, there's the main one that we see right here, and the one from Arcane. And the weird thing is, well, a lot of characters in Arcane and basically the main Runeterran universe, there's always a favorite. Like, I think most people can agree that Jace from Arcane is the significantly better version. But then you have some versions like Heimerdinger where he's basically non-existent in both of them, or you have some ones a lot of people like Vi's story or Caitlyn's story in the base Runeterran universe. Ekko's kind of weird because I like both of them a lot. I think Ekko is one of those characters that kind of proves why lore is so good in League, because Ekko has a pretty cool design, pretty cool personality, pretty neat gameplay, but his story is where it's at. So I guess to start it off, what are the big differences between Arcane and canon Runeterran Ekko? Arcane did happen a while ago now, which Season 2 is going to be coming out by the end of next year, it seems. Which I got a prediction right for once! Hooray! Super excited for that. Master tier jungler. Master tier. Master these nuts, you freak. So in Arcane, he was an orphan taken in by Lotso. Right? That was his name. And he was best friends to Child Vi, Child Jinx, and scrawny Junkrat kid and larger child. I haven't watched the show in like 2 years, okay? Cut me some slack. And we all know that he grew up to become the leader of the Firelights, which, right, definitely didn't spoil... They make a skin about it. I know the skin's cool, but it's kind of silly how it spoils Act 3, but whatever. And he becomes the leader of the Firelights and the Lost Children of Zaun, trying to make Zaun a better place for kids who suffered very much the same fate that he did. And I really like that. I like his character. I like him as a leader of these people. And it ties into his Runeterran version. So as for his Runeterran version, the major difference, and I mean the major difference, is he is not an orphan. Master tier jungler, isn't that right? He wasn't an orphan. Yes. His parents are still alive in the normal universe. Damn it. His parents are still alive. They're not exactly well off. They are just getting by, barely making enough money to survive and keep themselves fed. But they know that's the reason they can't keep Ekko here. Ekko has been brilliant ever since, god damn it, ever since he was a child. So they knew that he had a bright future, but Zaun would stifle that future. So their goal was to work their asses to the bone to make enough money so that Ekko can join a prestigious academy in Piltover and truly, you know, have the life that they never could. But Ekko growing up, he actually loves Zaun despite its flaws. Not that he loves the Cambarons or the toxic fumes or a giant werewolf creature running around the city, but he likes that the people of Zaun have, in a time of crisis and in a lack of resources, sparked innovation, and he loves that. He thinks the people of Zaun deserve better than this. And just like in Arcane, he did befriend a lot of orphans, just this time not fellow orphans, and those are the lost children of Zaun in the Canon Runeterran universe. And one day he happened upon a Hextech crystal, which I'm not sure how that's going to work now, considering Skarner Rework is going to eliminate Hextech from the Brackern, so they're gonna have to rework a lot of champions for this. But tinkering with the Hextech crystal, it explodes in his face, revealing a shattered timeline, all kinds of parallel master tier junglers. So it exploded in his face, and there's all these fractured timeline versions of him, and he's freaking out. He doesn't know what to do, but they're able to collaborate and repair the fractured hole in time that they created. And now he has this little machine, the repaired Hextech crystal, in this new device he calls the Z Drive, where he's able to manipulate very small increments of time. And that's what his R button is, his rewind. He can go back in time, not very far, only about a few minutes at most from what I remember. And the very next day, he used this power to save a friend from certain doom. They were painting up on a clock tower or something, and the kid fell, and Ekko instinctively used his powers to rewind time to save his friend. Though not the first time, it took very many attempts to get it right, but he did it. To his friends, it looked like he got it right the first time. It was like superhuman, he knew exactly what to do, but to Ekko, he played that situation out like 30 times. So now, armed with the Z Drive, he fully believes that he as an inventor and other fellow inventors have the power to make Zaun a better place, to get rid of the nasty people from there, get rid of Piltover influence, show that Zaun can be proud, they are a proud people, and they don't need no Piltover. Yeah, that's kind of where his base story ended. He's got a lot of other stories. He has the benefit of being a poster child of League at this point, so he gets the added benefit of having so much lore. Tons of comics, short stories, it's been in so many cinematics. Of course he was in Arcane, and he got his own game with Convergence, which we'll talk a bit about Convergence later, but I do want to mention the importance of short stories. So the reason short stories are important, why I'm absolutely pissed Naafiri didn't get one, and at this point I'm almost certain Briar isn't going to get one, which again, we're going to be left with two champions who had a very promising future, but we're not going to know where they are or what they're doing. They're just stuck in time. It's just random characters roaming around Runeterra because reasons. And it pisses me off even more because Ekko's short story, Lullaby, is... that is one of the best short stories they've ever released. There's some extra stuff about it. You guys should really read it for yourself, but I'll give you the spark notes of the best part. So Ekko's parents come home with a little parcel in hand ready to give to Ekko, and they are exhausted. They have been at work all day like they have every day, and most of the time when they come home, they're too exhausted to even say hi to Ekko, to sit at the dinner table with him. They just go straight to bed. In fact, he has to often help them get to bed. They're so exhausted from all their work. They have this glimmer of happiness in their eyes, and Ekko doesn't really know why until they reveal the parcel. And it's a little cake. Ekko, with all his time-shifting shenanigans, had completely forgotten it was his birthday. And it's not like some big, elaborate cake. It's like enough for one person. It's like a slice of cake, basically. But it's so expensive, and they're barely getting by. They can barely afford food of their own, and Ekko's like, oh, well, what about you guys? What are you going to eat tonight? And of course, they both lie, saying that, oh, I'm not hungry. Oh, I ate at work. You know, it's fine, Ekko. Have your food. It was great. And Ekko, while sad about what his parents are doing, I hate Master Tier junglers. Ekko just sees the happiness in his parents' eyes. His parents have been saving up his entire life to be... Okay, saving up his entire life so that he can move out of Zaun into a prestigious academy in Piltover so that he can have a better life. But Ekko knows in his heart that's not what he wants to do. He wants to stay in Zaun to help the people there. But how can he tell his parents that? They have sacrificed everything for his future. So he's left there seeing his parents humming his birthday song, falling asleep to it. And he's heartbroken. He doesn't know what to do. How is he supposed to tell them that he's going to leave Zaun, that he's going to betray them like that, betray their trust and everything they've worked for? Especially after tonight, they've done so many nice things for him. What is he going to do? And he rewinds time back to the exact moment his parents came in the door. And he does it over and over and over and over again, constantly reliving that moment of happiness that his parents are so proud of him, so happy of who he is, what he's done, and what he's going to do in Piltover, that he can't stand the heartbreak of telling them. So he just relives this same moment of happiness over and over and over again, unable to tell them. what he wants to do. And that, dude, that's some serious stuff, man. I wasn't expecting that. The punk guy who made a time machine in his pocket. What the hell? But that's just kind of a testament to Ekko, how simple of a character he kind of is on the surface, but how well utilized everything about him is. Just usually I find that very overly kind people in storytelling, it can be kind of boring. You know, they're kind of like stale bread. They're like, oh wow, Mr. Good Guy. Hooray, I love Mr. Good Guy. So what are your personalities? Being nice? Is that all you do? You have no character flaws at all? Damn it. Not to say that you can't do it, because look at Braum. Braum is a pinnacle example of how you can make a nice guy, like purely nice guy, very enjoyable to watch. But sometimes having a character with only a heart of gold and no struggles kind of makes for boring storytelling. Ekko is like, yes. He wants to do what's right. That's the thing. He knows that it's good for his parents, and he will do good in Piltover if he goes there, because he is a genius. But he also knows his genius can be used in Zaun to better the lives of the people there. So he's torn on what ideology to do. And I love that. Oh, okay. As for Convergence, I think as much as I hate what they did to Warwick and what they did to Camille, they did Ekko really well, especially with the idea of future Ekko. Of like, of course, someone with the ability to rewind time and undo all their mistakes is eventually going to learn how to abuse it. Wouldn't you? If you had the option to never make a mistake ever again, to constantly rewind time to fix every problem you've ever had, you would. You 100% would. You'd start to view people more as objects and obstacles. Oh, this conversation didn't go the way I want to. Okay, rewind time to make it more in my favor. Like, of course you would do that. To that end, I really like future Ekko, and I believe that if he abused his power like this, that would happen. I guess we've been talking about his lore long enough. Let's go on to his design, shall we? Because he also has two different variations. The League one has become the more prominent version. The big mohawk. No, that's kind of the primary thing. In Arcane and pretty much everything else, they give him the dreads. And I like the dreads. I will admit it's kind of weird that they give pretty much every black character the same hairstyle. I like it personally. I think it works with Ekko. The mohawk is it's a good way to symbolize how punk and rebellious he is, but it looks a little goofy when the rest of his design is so practical. But the baggy pants, I like how his weapon is just a salvaged clock tower hand. The goggles, the scarf, everything about him feels scrappy and punky. Like he made all of his clothes and everything he's wearing by himself, which makes sense because he's an inventor. It just comes across really well. I don't think he's anything too crazy. He doesn't blow me away. I think in some places he looks a little bit cleaner than he could, but that's where Project L Ekko comes in. Because as much as I like Arcane Ekko, and I do like League Ekko, I think Project L is the perfect blend of both worlds. I think pretty much all of Project L's art styles or the champions designs they have done are that way. Like Ahri, Yasuo, Darius, like all of them, you took every different iteration we've had of them and blended it together into one seamless package. And really Ekko in Project L is just default Ekko, grown up a little bit with the hair of Arcane Ekko and made to look a little bit scrappier, even more so than he is normally. I don't know what else to say about him in terms of design, other than just I love him. I think he's great. The one weird point of content I have with Ekko's design has nothing to do with him visually. It's the fact that he's had 3 different voice actors, one for League, one for True Damage, and one for Arcane, Convergence, and Legend of Runeterra. I just find it very bizarre to have a character, oh my goodness, have so many different kinds of voice actors. Never get me, you stupid fucking master tier jungle. Oh! Wait, you know what? I just remembered I was talking about the design, but I just remembered something about his lore that I loved. It's old lore back before the Mundo rework, so I don't know how canon it was. But there was a story about Ekko and Mundo, and Ekko uses his rewind powers to save his friend from Mundo, but Mundo knows the timeline was changed. He is aware of it happening. I don't know if that's still canon, because again, it was pre-rework Mundo, but please, how cool would that be? That'd be so funny if he's just like, he is immune to time travel. Like, that would be great. Back on his voice acting though, he's had so many different voice actors, but Reed Shannon is the one who does it for Legends of Runeterra and Arcane and Convergence and everything. So there is significantly more voice lines of Reed Shannon doing Ekko than there is for any other voice actor that he's had. And to be honest, I think it's the best one. I think it captures his attitude the best. And also because, oh, Antonio Del Rio, oh my god. Is it Anthony? Anthony Del Rio, I think is his name, is the one who does the voice acting in League of Legends. His voice is so immediately recognizable that it's kind of hard to hear Ekko and not just him. So yeah, I've kind of grown to love Reed Shannon as Ekko. I can't imagine Ekko with any other voice than he does. And I'm pretty sure they brought him back for Project L as well. Project L has been kind of weird where sometimes they sound correct. Like Ari has a few voice lines where she sounds like Laura, but then some where she doesn't, and Darius definitely doesn't sound like his voice actor. Yasuo has some instances where he sounds like, is it Liam O'Brien? I'm thinking of Doctor Strange, Edgeman from Sonic. On Ekko's gameplay, well, we've been fighting Neferi all game, and Neferi definitely feels much easier than Ekko. So as someone who's played a bunch of Ekko, I like Ekko's gameplay. Thematically, it works. He throws out his time winder. He dashes through time, freezes time, rewinds time. Though, it shows in his initial cinematic that when he rewinds time, he still retains all the injuries that he took because he's the only one that realized he went back in time, so it would make sense that anything that happened to him in the previous timeline still applies. But in League, he heals a bunch. I guess that's for gameplay reasons. That's the whole thing that it's there for, is an undo button. But I think it would have been cooler if he just had to deal with the damage. He just got like a big damage boost as opposed to healing a bunch, but whatever. It is very bizarre that he became a jungler. A lot of champions got random jungle buffs, like what, Zed, Talon, Darius, Mordekaiser, even Zyra, Morgana, like all these characters, yes, got random jungle buffs. But Ekko's really the big one that stuck. I think really the only reason that Jungle Ekko has stuck around is because his ganks are pretty good. I mean, it makes his W in a laning phase situation. How often are you ever going to hit that? It takes like 5 seconds to load up. It makes so much more sense as a jungle ganking tool when you don't know he's activated it. There's also the massive amount of passive damage he does to camps now. Like, I think you probably see, now that they have Rabadons, I'm going to go to a camp. Let's see how much damage the passive does now. Ignore that. Okay, yeah, sure did, insta-kill. That was a 2,000 damage passive proc, yup. Seems good. So it's weird. I usually get kind of upset when a champion's main role gets eclipsed by a new one. Karthus is the one that always comes to mind. I wish Karthus had never become a jungler. I miss mid lane Karthus or support Swain or 80 carry Swain. Just felt Swain's a mid laner, man. Ekko, I think he works better as a jungler. Plus thematically, he works kind of underground. He works solo, but he runs around helping people, kind of picking up inventions and scrap along the way to make new things. Beating baddies all across the world, or all across Zon, I should say. Oh my god. Oh my, that character was nerfed 5 times, by the way. So I guess what's left to talk about Ekko? His skins? Probably. I don't think Ekko has very many good ones, to be honest. Star Guardian was kind of a letdown. He has a Pulsefire skin, which confirms that, at least in that universe, he's gay. Him and Ezreal, I guess. He has Project Ekko. I don't really like many of the Project skins, to be fair. What is it? Sandstorms. Trick or Treat Ekko's okay. I think his best one for sure is either Firelight, because I'm arcane biased, or True Damage is just, it's such a different version of Ekko. It's weird that his voice sounds like he aged 20 years, probably because the rapper is much older than Ekko's canonical age. I guess what is there left to talk about Ekko? I guess probably where his future holds. He did get Convergence, so you got a lot of story in that. We got the whole thing with the Syntyxi and his future version, and I guess that game did confirm that all the other timelines are true, like Arcane, Star Guardian, Project, they're all timelines that exist, which is, we kind of knew that already, but I guess now they exist in the main Runeterran canon. Does that mean Star Guardians are gonna master tier junglers? Does that mean that Star Guardians are gonna cross over into the main Runeterran canon? I'd hope not. I'd prefer that skin lines be kept separate, though some champions' origins from Arcane, I would like if they move those to the main universe. Jace, especially. Victor would be nice. Ekko, the Echoes are so radically different, but they're both so good. I wouldn't know which one to pick. All right, we finally seem to be ending the game at last. A win, in fact. Haven't seen that in a while, but thank you, fellas, for joining this casual champion review. I'll see you next week for Elise, the Spider Lady, the alternate version of Cassiopeia, basically. All right, I'll see you then.